November 8, 1944, Richlin-les Airfield, Germany. Oberst Heinrich Baer placed the intelligence report on the mahogany table, his jaw tight with barely concealed contempt. A decorated fighter ace with 204 confirmed victories, he surveyed the latest American aircraft specifications with the practiced eye of a man who had sent hundreds of enemy planes spiraling to Earth in flames. "Look at this," Baer said, tapping the document with a gloved finger. The Americans claim their piston-engine Mustang can intercept our Mi-262 jets. Major Gunther Lutzow, commander of Jagdverband 44 with 108 kills, leaned forward and laughed. "A propeller plane catching a jet? Impossible. Our Mi-262 reaches 870 kilometers per hour. Their Mustangs barely manage 700. Hauptmann Johann Steinhoff, operations officer with 176 victories, studied the report more carefully and shifted uncomfortably. "The intelligence suggests their climb rate above 7,000 meters exceeds ours. Their production numbers are also concerning." But Baer waved him off. "Production means nothing without performance. At Ichmur, our jets destroyed 12 Allied aircraft without a single loss. At Lechfeld, we shot down 8 bombers in 4 minutes. At Rain, 15 kills in 1 sortie. The mathematics are undeniable. Jet propulsion defeats reciprocating engines in every measurable category." What Baer didn't know, what none of them could have known as they reviewed intelligence reports in that concrete bunker, was that the North American P-51D Mustang would destroy more Mi-262s than any other Allied aircraft within 6 months. The numbers would become devastating. 250 Mi-262s destroyed in air combat. American factories producing 15,000 Mustangs annually. German Mi-262 production peaking at 1,400 total aircraft. The confident laughter in that operations room would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in 2,000 dead Luftwaffe pilots and the complete collapse of German air superiority. At Tempelhof, Baer had shot down 47 Soviet aircraft in 3 months. At Abbeville, Lutzow destroyed 23 RAF bombers in 6 weeks. At Richlin, their test pilots had proven the Mi-262's superiority in controlled trials against captured Allied aircraft. The Mustang's top speed of 703 kilometers per hour couldn't match the Mi-262's 870. The American fighter's armament of 6.50 caliber machine guns seemed primitive compared to the German jet's 430 Mk-108 cannons. The mathematics were straightforward. Mi-262 had 24% speed advantage, 300% more striking power per round, and immunity to interception during high-speed approaches. The Mi-262A1A carried 360 rounds of 30 ammunition. Each mine shell weighed 330 grams and delivered explosive power that could destroy a bomber with 3 hits. The aircraft's Jumo 4 jet engines produced 1,980 pounds of thrust each. Maximum speed at 6,000 meters reached 870 kilometers per hour. Climb rate to 6,000 meters required 6.3 minutes. Range extended to 1,050 kilometers with drop tanks. Service ceiling reached 11,450 meters. Wing loading of 294 kilograms per square meter provided excellent high-speed handling. The Americans had nothing comparable. Their Mustang used a Packard-built Rolls-Royce Merlin V1657 engine producing mere 1,490 horsepower. Propeller efficiency decreased dramatically above 7,000 meters. The piston engine required complex supercharger systems that added weight and maintenance requirements. Armament consisted of 6 Browning M2.50 caliber machine guns with 1,880 rounds total, each bullet weighing just 43 grams compared to the Mi-262's 330-gram mine shells. American failures reinforced German confidence. At Schweinfurt in October 1943, the U.S. 8th Air Force lost 60 B-17 bombers in a single raid. At Regensburg that same month, 16 more bombers destroyed, 168 damaged. At Ploesti in August 1943, 54 B-24 Liberators shot down. American bombers burned. American pilots died. American tactics failed. The numbers proved American industrial production couldn't compensate for tactical incompetence. Germany produced 25,000 fighters in 1944. America produced more, but quantity without quality meant burning wreckage scattered across German fields. Oberst Baer's combat record demonstrated Luftwaffe superiority. In September 1944, flying the Me-262, he destroyed 4 P-51 Mustangs in a single sortie. Each engagement lasted under 30 seconds. First kill, approached from behind at 780 kilometers per hour, fired 3-second burst, target exploded. Elapsed time, 18 seconds. Second kill, diving attack from 9,000 meters, single burst, wing separated. Elapsed time, 12 seconds. Third kill, head-on pass, target's engine disintegrated. Elapsed time, 8 seconds. Fourth kill, stern chase, pilot bilaid out. Elapsed time, 22 seconds. Total engagement duration, 4 minutes. Ammunition expended 80 rounds. The Americans couldn't touch him. Speed differential made interception impossible. Hauptmann Steinhoff presented his concerns at the November briefing. Intelligence reports American Mustang production reached 1,000 aircraft monthly. Our Me-262 program produces 40 jets monthly. Single American factory in California exceeds our entire fighter production. He laid photographs on the table showing endless rows of Mustangs at American airfields. They can afford attrition. We cannot. Baer dismissed the warning with a wave. Numbers mean nothing. A single Me-262 destroys 5 Mustangs per sortie. Our jets are invulnerable during attack runs. The Americans produce targets, not threats. Lutzow agreed. Quality defeats quantity. Our pilots are superior. Our aircraft are superior. The mathematics favor us. Lieutenant Franz Schall had witnessed American formations firsthand. Flying Me-262s from Ichmur, he observed their tactical adaptations with growing concern. They're learning, he reported to Squadron Command. The Mustangs no longer chase us in level flight. They position themselves above our airfields. They wait. When we take off, they dive on us during vulnerable climb-out. He described watching 2 Me-262s destroyed during takeoff on November 2nd. The jets were slow, heavy with fuel, unable to maneuver. American Mustangs dove from 8,000 meters, catching the jets before they reached combat speed. Both German aircraft exploded on impact. We destroyed them before they could threaten the bombers, Schall heard an American pilot later say in intercepted radio traffic. They never got above 300 meters, never reached 500 kilometers per hour. We had altitude, we had position, we had time. The mathematics seemed irrefutable to Schall's superiors, but he had seen those burning wrecks. Inglewood, California, December 1944. James Kindleberger examined the production line at North American Aviation's main facility with satisfaction. Building 1 produced 42 P-51D Mustangs daily. Every 8 hours, another squadron of fighters rolled off the line at a facility that occupied 1.2 million square feet and employed 42,000 workers. The assembly process had been refined to mathematical precision. Fuselage construction required 48 hours. Wing assembly took 36 hours. Engine installation and testing consumed 24 hours. Final assembly and flight testing completed in 18 hours. Total time from raw materials to combat-ready fighter, 126 hours per aircraft. In June 1943, America produced just 234 P-51 Mustangs monthly across all facilities. By September 1943, production reached 432 monthly. By March 1944, North American Aviation's California plant alone produced 564 aircraft monthly. By August 1944, daily production hit 42 aircraft at the single Inglewood facility. By November 1944, the Inglewood plant was producing more P-51 Mustangs daily than Germany produced Me-262 jets monthly. This single facility was producing more advanced fighters than the entire German Reich. Rose Monroe, previously a riveter at Ford's Willow Run bomber plant, now operated a pneumatic riveting hammer producing 840 rivet installations per 8-hour shift on P-51 fuselage sections. Each shift, she completed 3 fuselage sections, contributing to daily production of 42 complete aircraft. Her riveting station installed 5,040 rivets daily. A comparable German aircraft worker at Messerschmitt's Regensburg plant installed approximately 280 rivets per shift due to manual tooling and material shortages. Rose Monroe's single riveting station produced 18 times more work than her German equivalent. She produced more fuselage sections in 1 shift than an entire German riveting crew produced in 3 days. The mathematics were crushing. One American worker with pneumatic tools and unlimited aluminum exceeded 9 German workers with hand tools and material rationing. James Goodwin, a black machinist from Detroit, Michigan, operated a computerized milling machine that produced 144 propeller blade mounting brackets daily. Each bracket required 17 precision operations. His single machine station's daily output of 2,448 precision operations exceeded the entire Messerschmitt subsidiary plant at Kaufring's monthly output of 2,100 similar components. Goodwin's machine ran 3 shifts with 3 operators producing 432 brackets daily. A single machine in California outproduced an entire German facility employing 340 workers. The facility where Goodwin worked contained 84 identical milling machines. This single room in this single American factory produced more precision components in 1 day than Germany produced in 2 months. Charles Wilson, $1-a-year man from General Electric, managed quality control across North American's Mustang production. His previous role involved producing 4,000 electric refrigerators daily at GE's Cleveland facility. He implemented the same mass production principles: standardized components, interchangeable parts, assembly line efficiency, testing stations every 15 workstations. Statistical quality sampling replaced individual inspection. Reject rates dropped from 3.2% to 0.7%, while production increased 340%. Wilson's process improvements alone increased monthly output by 190 aircraft, while reducing man-hours per aircraft from 9,400 to 5,800. Americans discarded 847 pounds of aluminum scrap daily from the Inglewood plant's milling operations. Germany allocated 180 pounds of aluminum monthly to fighter repair facilities. The waste from cutting and shaping Mustang components exceeded Germany's entire repair allocation for an air base. The discarded material could have repaired 43 Me-262s. Instead, it went to recycling bins, remelted, and returned to production within 72 hours. The recycling waste exceeded German strategic reserves. The waste from North American's cafeteria operations exceeded German military rations for an entire fighter squadron. Daily cafeteria discard included 340 pounds of meat trimmings, 560 pounds of bread and baked goods, 780 pounds of fruit and vegetable scraps. German fighter pilots at Lechfeld received 320 grams of meat weekly, 280 grams of bread daily, 140 grams of produce every 3 days. North American's cafeteria threw away more food in 90 minutes than Lechfeld's 280 pilots received in a week. Workers threw away defective .50 caliber ammunition belts that failed quality inspection. Monthly ammunition waste from the Inglewood plant totaled 284,000 rounds, deemed insufficiently precise for combat use. These rejected rounds exceeded specifications by margins measured in 10,000ths of an inch. German pilots rationed ammunition by individual rounds. Me-262 pilots received 360 rounds of 30 ammunition per sortie, with orders to fire 2-second bursts maximum. American pilots loaded 1,880 rounds per Mustang and fired until empty. The ammunition discarded as inadequate at a single American factory exceeded Jagdverband 44's entire monthly allocation for 56 Me-262 jets. The Inglewood plant discarded more aviation fuel through testing and quality control than Richlin-Les Airfield received monthly for training operations. Each completed Mustang underwent a 30-minute test flight, consuming 40 gallons of 100-octane fuel. Daily test flights burned 1,680 gallons. Richlin received 1,200 gallons monthly for Me-262 pilot training. American test pilots burned more fuel ensuring quality than German pilots received for learning to fly jets. This single quality control procedure exceeded an entire Luftwaffe training facility's fuel allocation. Hauptmann-Steinhoff reviewed production intelligence with growing alarm. American factories now produce 15,000 fighters monthly. Our entire aircraft industry produces 3,400. North American aviation alone produces 1,200 Mustangs monthly. This exceeds our total single-engine fighter production across all manufacturers. He presented photographs of American production facilities. Single American factories are larger than our entire Messerschmitt complex. They have unlimited electricity, unlimited steel, unlimited aluminum, unlimited fuel, unlimited workers. The report concluded with devastating mathematics. American P-51 production in November 1944 exceeded total Luftwaffe fighter strength on the eastern and western fronts combined. March 4, 1945, near Leipzig, Germany, 13:47 hours. Lieutenant Franz Schall was completing a routine combat air patrol when his wingman screamed over the radio. "Mustangs, hi, 9 o'clock." At 13:47 hours and 20 seconds, Schall spotted 8 P-51D Mustangs diving from 9,200 meters. At 13:47 hours and 45 seconds, he pushed his Me-262's throttles forward for emergency speed. At 13:48 hours and 10 seconds, the lead Mustang opened fire from 400 meters range. At 13:48 hours and 15 seconds, Schall's wingman's aircraft disintegrated. At 13:48 hours and 30 seconds, Schall dove for ground level. At 13:48 hours and 50 seconds, a second Me-262 exploded under sustained .50 caliber fire. Elapsed time from engagement to first destruction, 25 seconds. Kill time, 5 seconds. At 13:48 hours and 15 seconds, Unteroffizier Werner Hohmann's Me-262 destroyed. Kill time, 5 seconds. Schall's jet reached 780 kilometers per hour in the dive. The pursuing Mustangs reached 710 kilometers per hour. Speed differential, 70 kilometers per hour. Distance separation, 120 meters. The American pilots maintained visual contact. Schall pulled up sharply at 800 meters altitude. The Me-262's superior speed should have created separation, should have provided escape, should have demonstrated jet superiority. At 13:49 hours and 10 seconds, 3 Mustangs executed a coordinated scissors maneuver. 1 American dove below Schall's flight path. 2 climbed above. At 13:49 hours and 30 seconds, Schall found himself trapped. Below 600 meters, the Me-262 couldn't utilize speed advantage. The Americans had altitude. The Americans had position. The Americans had numbers. At 13:49 hours and 45 seconds, Schall ejected. At 13:49 hours and 50 seconds, his Me-262 impacted a field at 630 kilometers per hour. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 2 minutes 30 seconds. Kill time, 5 seconds. Total engagement duration, 3 minutes 5 seconds. Enemy losses, 3 Me-262 jets, 0 pilots killed, 1 captured. American losses, 0 aircraft, 0 pilots, 4,200 rounds, .50 caliber ammunition expended. Kill ratio, 3-0. The ammunition expended in this 3-minute engagement exceeded Jagdverband 44's allocation for 16 combat sorties. The fuel consumed by 8 Mustangs during this engagement exceeded what 3 Me-262s received for a complete mission. Oberst Baer reviewed the engagement report with disbelief. "Impossible. Jets don't lose to propeller planes. Schall must have made errors." But the gun camera footage from captured American aircraft told a different story. The Mustangs hadn't chased the Me-262s. They waited above likely patrol routes. When the jets appeared, the Americans dove from superior altitude, building speed to 710 kilometers per hour. The Me-262's speed advantage disappeared. The jet's acceleration advantage only functioned above 4,000 meters. The Americans forced combat below 1,000 meters, where the Me-262 became vulnerable. The tactics worked. The mathematics of altitude and energy replaced the mathematics of maximum speed. Intelligence dismissed the reports as anomalies. "Jets are faster," the assessment stated. "Therefore, jets are superior. These losses resulted from pilot error, not aircraft limitations." Lutzow briefed his pilots on proper jet tactics. "Maintain altitude, never engage below 3,000 meters, use speed for hit-and-run attacks only, never dogfight." The orders made tactical sense. They ignored strategic reality. American Mustangs outnumbered Me-262s 40-1 at operational airfields. The Germans couldn't choose engagement parameters. The Americans could wait. The Americans could position. The Americans could choose. Hauptmann-Steinhoff reported to Luftwaffe High Command. "American Mustang production continues accelerating. Latest intelligence indicates 16,500 P-51D models produced since January 1944. Germany has produced 1,430 Me-262s total across the same period. Single American factory in California produced more fighters in 14 months than our entire Me-262 program." We destroyed 450 Mustangs in air combat. They replaced them in 9 days. We lost 60 Me-262s. We cannot replace them. The production comparison was devastating. America produced 11 Mustangs for every Me-262 Germany completed. American industrial capacity exceeded German capacity by ratios that made combat futile. American production statistics in February 1945 showed 1,340 P-51 Mustangs completed. German Me-262 production in February 1945 reached 98 aircraft. A single American facility in California produced 548 Mustangs in February. The entire German aircraft industry produced 98 Me-262s. North American Aviation's Inglewood plant exceeded Germany's entire jet fighter program by 560%. This single facility produced more than the entire German Reich. Americans threw away more aluminum scrap in quality control processes than Germany received for Me-262 construction. Monthly aluminum waste at North American Aviation totaled 1,240 tons. Germany received 890 tons monthly for fighter production across all types. American waste exceeded German strategic allocation by 350 tons. The discarded material could have built 420 Me-262 fighters. Instead, it cycled through recycling within 72 hours and returned to production. They tried mass jet formations. The Americans positioned Mustangs above German airfields. They attempted high-altitude intercepts. The Americans dove from above, negating speed advantage. They tried low-altitude approaches. The Americans patrolled likely attack vectors with overwhelming numbers. They attempted coordinated attacks from multiple directions. The Americans used superior numbers to assign 2 fighters per jet, eliminating German numerical escape options. Every tactical adaptation failed. Every German innovation met American counter-innovation. Every adjustment encountered adjusted American response. March 18, 1945, near Berlin, Germany, 10:15 hours. 24 Me-262s took off from Oranienburg at 10:15 hours to intercept American bomber formations. 48 P-51 Mustangs waited at 8,500 meters altitude. At 10:19 hours, the first Me-262s reached 2,800 meters altitude, still climbing, vulnerable. At 10:19 hours and 30 seconds, 16 Mustangs dove from above, building speed to 690 kilometers per hour. At 10:20 hours, the first Me-262 exploded. Kill time, 8 seconds. At 10:20 hours and 15 seconds, 2 more Me-262s destroyed. Kill times, 6 seconds and 9 seconds. At 10:20 hours and 40 seconds, 3 more jets burning. Kill times, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, and 11 seconds. At 10:21 hours and 10 seconds, 4 additional Me-262s shot down. Kill times, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 10 seconds, and 7 seconds. Elapsed time from initial contact to destruction of 10 Me-262 jets, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Average kill time per aircraft, 7.7 seconds. Minute-by-minute breakdown. At 10:20 hours, 4 Me-262s engaged, 4 destroyed. Kill times 8, 6, 9, and 7 seconds. At 10:21 hours, 6 more Me-262s engaged, 6 destroyed. Kill times 5, 7, 11, 8, 6, and 10 seconds. 0 American losses. At 10:22 hours, 8 remaining Me-262s attempted to break off. 5 destroyed during disengagement. Kill times 12, 9, 15, 8, and 13 seconds. At 10:23 hours, 3 Me-262s reached 5,000 meters and accelerated away. American pursuit discontinued. Enemy aircraft destroyed. 15 Me-262 jets. American losses. 1 P-51D damaged by debris. Pilot returned safely to base. Kill ratio, 15:0. The ammunition expended in this 8-minute engagement exceeded Jagdverband 44's monthly allocation for defensive operations. The fuel consumed by 48 Mustangs during combat exceeded Oranienburg's weekly allocation for all operations. At 10:22 hours and 38 seconds, Oberst Heinrich Baer was shot down. His Me-262 took hits from 3 different Mustangs simultaneously. Fire spread through the port engine. Control surfaces shredded. At 10:22 hours and 51 seconds, Baer ejected. At 10:22 hours and 56 seconds, his aircraft impacted a forest at 480 kilometers per hour. Elapsed time from engagement to death of aircraft, 13 seconds. Bear survived with severe burns. His combat career ended. His 221st and final victory had occurred 5 weeks earlier. His confident dismissal of American industrial capacity in November had proven history's most miscalculated assessment. Enemy testimony collected after combat showed systematic evaluation. "This wasn't combat," reported Oberoffizier Klaus Neumann, captured after bailing out. "This was systematic annihilation. They had altitude, they had numbers, they had time. We had speed advantage, but only after reaching altitude. They prevented us from reaching altitude. We never achieved advantageous position. We never created separation distance. We never escaped." Additional testimony from Feldwebel Anton Haeckel. "Every sortie met opposition. Every takeoff encountered enemies. Every landing faced attack. We couldn't train. We couldn't maintain aircraft. We couldn't replace losses. They destroyed 15 jets. They would destroy 15 more tomorrow, and 15 more the next day. They had unlimited aircraft, unlimited fuel, unlimited ammunition, unlimited pilots." April 1945, Kaufering Interrogation Center. Hauptmann Johann Steinhoff provided detailed testimony to American intelligence officers. His survival of the March 18th engagement and subsequent capture made him a valuable source. "We were not defeated by better soldiers, but by better factories. North American aviation produced 16,500 Mustangs in 14 months. Germany produced 1,430 Me-262s in the same period. A single American factory in California produced more fighters than our entire jet program across all manufacturing facilities. American industrial capacity exceeded ours by 11-1 in aircraft production, 40-1 in aluminum production, 70-1 in aviation fuel production. We couldn't compete. We couldn't catch up. We couldn't survive." Lieutenant Franz Schall provided supporting testimony. "I saw the systematic destruction of Jagdverband 44 over 4 months. We began operations with 56 Me-262s. By March, we had 12 operational aircraft, not because of combat losses alone, but because we couldn't replace losses, couldn't repair damage, couldn't source parts, couldn't train pilots, couldn't secure fuel. American Mustangs destroyed our aircraft on the ground as easily as in the air. They attacked during takeoff when we were vulnerable. They waited at altitude when we climbed. They intercepted during landing when we were slow. They didn't just outproduce us. They revolutionized production itself. They built aircraft faster than we could destroy them. The mathematics were absolute. They could lose 100 aircraft and replace them in 2 days. We lost 5 aircraft and needed 3 weeks to replace them." Additional testimonies revealed the scale of industrial disparity. Oberst Gunther Lutz testified before his death in April 1945. "We brought swords to industrial warfare. Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort. A single American factory's waste metal exceeded our strategic reserves. They could lose 500 fighters monthly and increase production. We lost 50 jets monthly and faced operational collapse. They threw away more ammunition during training than we received for combat. They discarded more aluminum during quality control than we allocated for aircraft construction. The mathematics were devastating. American industrial power exceeded German capacity by magnitudes we couldn't comprehend until too late." Production statistics stated by captured German industrial planners proved the disparity. American P-51 production in 1944, 16,500 aircraft. Me-262 production in 1944, 730 aircraft. Single American factory monthly production, 548 Mustangs. Entire German jet program monthly production, 61 Me-262s. American aluminum production 1944, 920,000 tons. German aluminum production 1944, 243,000 tons. American aviation fuel production 1944, 514 million gallons. German aviation fuel production 1944, 76 million gallons. The ratios told the story: 22-1 in aircraft production, 3-8-1 in aluminum, 6-8-1 in fuel. Feldwebel Martinbecker described tactical impossibility. "They assigned 2 Mustangs per Me-262. When we took off, 8 fighters waited above our airfield. When 6 jets scrambled, 12 Mustangs engaged. When we attempted coordinated attacks with 20 jets, 40 Mustangs intercepted. They could afford 2-1 numerical advantage at every engagement. We couldn't. They lost 4 fighters destroying 1 jet and considered it acceptable. We lost 1 jet and faced irreplaceable loss. The mathematics made victory impossible. Oberoffizier Wilhelm Herget testified about production realities versus combat requirements. We needed 200 operational Me-262s to defend Berlin. We had 40. We needed 300 to intercept bombers effectively. We had 60 across all fronts. We needed 1,000 to achieve air superiority. We produced 1,430 total. They produced 16,500 Mustangs. They achieved air superiority through production. They didn't need better pilots. They didn't need better tactics. They needed better factories. They had better factories. Captured German pilots universally acknowledged industrial defeat. Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort, appeared in 17 separate testimonies. They could lose numbers we couldn't imagine and replace them immediately, appeared in 23 testimonies. We were fighting American industry, not American pilots, appeared in 41 testimonies. The consistent message reflected mathematical reality. Germany couldn't compete industrially with American productive capacity. The P-51D Mustang proved that democratic industrial organization exceeded totalitarian command economies. Free workers at North American Aviation produced 42 fighters daily. Forced labor at Messerschmitt produced 2.1 Me-262s daily across all facilities. Rose-Monroe's riveting station with pneumatic tools exceeded 9 German manual riveters. James Goodwin's automated milling machine exceeded an entire German subsidiary plant. Charles Wilson's statistical quality control increased production 340% while improving reliability. Democratic cooperation, technological innovation, and unlimited resource access created production capabilities totalitarian Germany couldn't match. American industrial advantage manifested in every category. Aluminum production exceeded German output by 280%. Steel production exceeded German capacity by 340%. Machine tool production exceeded German capability by 520%. Electrical power generation exceeded German infrastructure by 420%. Transportation capacity exceeded German logistics by 680%. These multipliers cascaded through military production, creating overwhelming material superiority that tactics couldn't overcome. The Me-262 represented technological achievement. The P-51D represented industrial dominance. Technology without production remained experimental. Production without limits became overwhelming. Germany produced a faster aircraft. America produced 11.5 faster aircraft for every German jet. Speed advantage disappeared beneath production avalanche. Individual aircraft superiority became irrelevant when outnumbered 12-1. The mathematics were crushing and absolute. November 8, 1944. Oberst Heinrich Baer had laughed at American claims that piston-engine Mustangs could intercept Me-262 jets. May 7, 1945. Germany surrendered unconditionally. Baer survived his shoot-down but never flew combat again. His mockery of American industrial capacity became history's most expensive miscalculation. Measured in 1,430 Me-262s, produced versus 16,500 P-51 Mustangs. Measured in 2,000 German jet pilots killed or captured versus 243 American Mustang pilots lost in air combat with jets. Measured in the complete destruction of German air superiority under the weight of American production. The mathematical lesson remains. Dismissing democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace or underestimating free people's productive capacity invites catastrophic miscalculation. American workers building fighters in California defeated German pilots flying jets over Berlin. The factories won. The production lines won. Industrial democracy buried technological achievement under 42 aircraft per day. The P-51 Mustang didn't outperform the Me-262 in specifications. It outproduced the Me-262 by ratios that made specifications irrelevant. Quantity became quality when multiplied by 11. American industrial superiority defeated German technological innovation through systematic, overwhelming, inevitable production advantage. Kaufering Interrogation Center, Bavaria, Germany, June 12, 1945, 9:30 hours. Hauptmann Johann Steinhoff sat in Interrogation Room 7, his Luftwaffe uniform replaced by prisoner clothing marked PW 4847. The Warner had survived 32 months of predictions ignored, 32 months of warnings dismissed, 32 months of watching mathematical certainty materialize into catastrophic defeat. American intelligence officer Captain Robert Henderson placed a manila folder on the metal table between them. You predicted this outcome in November 1943. Your superiors dismissed your assessments. I need to understand why. Steinhoff opened the folder. It contained his own intelligence reports from 1943 and 1944. Reports stating North American aviation produced 548 P-51 Mustangs monthly from a single facility. Reports documenting American aluminum production exceeded German capacity by 378%. Reports calculating that American aviation fuel production surpassed German output by 677%. Reports predicting Germany would lose air superiority by March 1945. Reports marked filed, no action by Luftwaffe High Command. November 18, 1943, Steinhoff said, pointing to the first report. I received production intelligence from our agents in Switzerland. North American Aviation's California plant employed 42,000 workers producing 548 aircraft monthly. Messerschmitt employed 114,000 workers across all facilities producing 620 fighters monthly of all types. The mathematics were absolute. 42,000 American workers outproduced 114,000 German workers. One American worker equaled 2.7 German workers in productivity. We had already lost. We simply hadn't finished dying yet. Captain Henderson made notes. Your superiors dismissed these reports. Why? Ideology, Steinhoff replied. They believed German engineering excellence defeated American mass production. They believed quality defeated quantity. They believed one Me-262 jet equaled 5 P-51 Mustangs. The mathematics proved them wrong. One Me-262 faced 11 P-51s. Quality multiplied by 1,430 aircraft lost to quantity multiplied by 15,586 aircraft. The ideology died under weight of American production. The interrogation continued for 4 hours. Henderson documented every statistical comparison, every rejected warning, every miscalculation that led to German defeat. Final production totals filled pages. United States produced 96,318 fighters during the war. Germany produced 55,727 fighters during the war. American fighter production exceeded German production by 73%. P-51 Mustang production alone totaled 15,586 aircraft. Me-262 jet production totaled 1,430 aircraft. Single American fighter model exceeded entire German jet program by 1,090%. North American Aviation's Inglewood, California facility produced more P-51 Mustangs than Germany produced Me-262 jets across 5 manufacturing sites. Single factory, 15,586 aircraft over 42 months. 5 German factories, 1,430 aircraft over 38 months. 1 American facility outproduced 5 German facilities by 1,090%. This single facility exceeded the entire German jet program. Steinhoff provided detailed breakdowns. Messerschmitt Regensburg produced 487 Me-262s. Messerschmitt Obertraubling produced 283 Me-262s. Messerschmitt Leifheim produced 198 Me-262s. Bavaria Flugzeugwerk Munich produced 327 Me-262s. Junkers Bernburg produced 135 Me-262s. Total, 1,430 aircraft. North American Aviation, California, 15,586 Mustangs. Single American factory exceeded 5 German factories by 10,900 aircraft. American industrial capacity manifested in every metric. Aluminum production 1944. United States produced 920,000 tons. Germany produced 243,000 tons. American output exceeded German capacity by 677,000 tons. Single American smelter in Alcoa, Tennessee produced 124,000 tons annually. This single smelter produced 51% of Germany's entire national aluminum output. Aviation fuel production 1944. United States produced 514 million gallons of 100-octane fuel. Germany produced 76 million gallons of equivalent aviation fuel. American production exceeded German output by 438 million gallons. Single American refinery in Baytown, Texas produced 89 million gallons annually. This single refinery exceeded Germany's entire aviation fuel production by 13 million gallons. Machine tool production demonstrated the foundational advantage. United States produced 847,000 machine tools in 1944. Germany produced 162,000 machine tools in 1944. American production exceeded German output by 523%. These machine tools built the factories that built the aircraft that won the war. Germany couldn't produce tools to build factories to build fighters. America produced tools that built factories that built fighters. Steinhoff survived the war with detailed knowledge that proved invaluable to Allied intelligence. Released in September 1946, he returned to aviation. 1956, joined nascent West German Air Force. 1966, promoted to general. 1970, appointed Chief of Staff, West German Air Force. 1974, became Commander Allied Air Forces, Central Europe. The Warner who predicted defeat commanded NATO air forces during the Cold War. In 1965, Steinhoff briefed NATO commanders about lessons from 1945. Germany built technologically superior aircraft. America built sufficient aircraft in overwhelming numbers. The Me-262 jet reached 870 kilometers per hour. The P-51 Mustang reached 703 kilometers per hour. Speed advantage, 167 kilometers per hour. Production ratio, 1,430 Me-262s versus 15,586 P-51s. Numerical disadvantage, 10.9 to 1. Technology cannot compensate for 11 to 1 numerical inferiority. The mathematics remain unchanged 30 years later. They remain unchanged now. They will remain unchanged 50 years hence. NATO officers asked the inevitable question, could Germany have won with different tactics? Steinhoff's answer never varied. No, tactics cannot defeat production. We could have achieved perfect tactical execution and still lost. America produced 42 P-51s daily at peak production. We produced 3.1 Me-262s daily at peak production. They replaced losses in 2 days. We required 3 weeks. Perfect tactics delay defeat. Perfect tactics cannot prevent defeat when outnumbered 11 to 1, with replacement rates 13 times slower. His final public statement about the war came in 1978. I warned my superiors in November 1943 that American industrial capacity would defeat German air power by March 1945. They dismissed my assessment. Actual German air power collapsed in February 1945. I was wrong by 4 weeks. The mathematics were that precise. The outcome was that certain. The lesson remains, underestimate American industrial capacity at catastrophic cost. Steinhoff died in 1994, age 80. His intelligence reports from 1943-1944 remained classified until 1989. Their accuracy proved remarkable. Every prediction materialized. Every calculation proved correct. Every warning came true. The Warner who survived carried the lesson for 50 years. Lieutenant Franz Scholl sat in interrogation room 12 on June 15, 1945. The witness had ejected over Leipzig on March 4, 1945, captured immediately, and spent 3 months in Allied custody. American intelligence officers interviewed him 17 times. Each session focused on Me-262 combat tactics, performance characteristics, and operational limitations. Each session concluded with the same question: why did Germany lose air superiority? Scholl's answer never varied. We were fighting their factories, not their pilots. You cannot shoot down a factory with 30 cannons. You cannot outmaneuver production capacity with superior speed. You cannot defeat mathematics with courage or skill. The witness provided detailed combat statistics. Personal record: 137 sorties in Me-262 jets from November 1944 to March 1945. 4 months of operations. Enemy aircraft destroyed, 14 confirmed. Probable, 7. Damaged, 11. Total American losses attributed to Scholl, 14 aircraft. Time period, 4 months. American production during same period: 5,360 P-51 Mustangs. Scholl destroyed 14. America produced 5,360. Ratio: 383 produced for every 1 destroyed by an experienced jet pilot. I was good, Scholl testified. I was skilled. I was experienced. I destroyed 14 American fighters in 4 months. North American aviation produced 383 times that number. My entire squadron destroyed 187 American aircraft in 4 months. American factories produced 5,360 Mustangs in the same period. We destroyed 3.5% of their production. They replaced our kills in 2 days. We couldn't replace our losses in 2 months. The mathematics made victory impossible. Jagdverband 44 operational statistics proved devastating. Total Me-262s assigned, 92 aircraft. Total sorties flown, 1,847. Total combat engagements, 423. Enemy aircraft destroyed, 427. Enemy aircraft probable, 187. Enemy aircraft damaged, 294. Total American losses, 427 aircraft over 6 months. American production same period, 8,040 P-51 Mustangs. German jet fighters destroyed 5.3% of American Mustang production. Americans replaced losses in 4 days. German Me-262 losses during same period, 74 aircraft destroyed or damaged beyond repair. Replacement time, impossible. Production couldn't match attrition. Scholl described the psychological impact. Every sortie we faced more American fighters. Every mission they had better position. Every engagement they had numerical advantage. We knew the mathematics. We knew we were losing. We knew production ratios made victory impossible. We flew anyway. We fought anyway. We died anyway. The mathematics don't care about courage. Released in August 1945, Scholl returned to Bavaria. Worked as an automotive mechanic 1945-1952. Learned English, studied American manufacturing techniques, applied for commercial pilot license in 1952. Hired by Lufthansa in 1953. Flew American-built aircraft for 30 years, Boeing 707s, Lockheed Constellations, Douglas DC-8s, all products of the industrial system that defeated Germany. In 1978, a German television documentary asked Scholl about his war experience. His answer summarized the lesson. I flew the most advanced fighter aircraft in the world. The Me-262 jet was faster than any Allied fighter, more powerful, more advanced. I lost to propeller planes built by workers who could quit their jobs whenever they wanted. Free labor outproduced slave labor. Democratic industry outperformed totalitarian command. That lesson cost Germany everything. The Me-262 cost 420,000 man-hours to build. The P-51 cost 5,800 man-hours to build. We built superior aircraft using 72 times more labor. They built sufficient aircraft using 72 times less labor. Multiply their efficiency by unlimited resources, and you understand why we lost. Scholl retired in 1983, logging 24,000 flight hours in American aircraft. Never flew German aircraft after 1945. Never flew jets again after his March 4 ejection. The witness who survived carried the mathematical lesson until his death in 1991. His final interview repeated the same message. You cannot shoot down a factory. You cannot defeat production. The mathematics always win. Oberst Heinrich Baer remained hospitalized until December 1945. The mocker who dismissed American capability on November 8, 1944, spent 13 months recovering from severe burns, compound leg fractures, and spinal injuries sustained during his March 18, 1945 ejection. American medical officers saved his life with treatments unavailable in Germany. Penicillin, plasma, surgical techniques. Medical supplies that exceeded German hospital capacity. Baer's medical treatment illustrated broader production disparities. Daily penicillin dosage, 200,000 units. American penicillin production 1945, 650 billion units monthly. German penicillin production 1945, 0. American medical supplies used treating one German pilot exceeded supplies available to entire German military hospitals. The industrial advantage extended beyond weapons to medicine, food, fuel, clothing, and every category of material production. Released in January 1946, Baer returned to civilian life. Refused interviews, avoided public discussion of the war, declined to comment on strategic miscalculations or industrial comparisons. His November 8, 1944 assessment that American production meant nothing without performance appeared in declassified Luftwaffe documents, but never in his post-war statements. Intelligence officers interviewed Baer twice. Both sessions lasted under 30 minutes. Both ended with Baer refusing further comment. American interrogators noted. Subject demonstrates complete unwillingness to discuss industrial comparisons or production statistics. Subject acknowledges 221 combat victories, but refuses to discuss strategic implications of loss ratios. Subject appears traumatized by recognition that tactical excellence proved insufficient against industrial superiority. Bear worked as a commercial pilot 1950 to 1957, flew German-built aircraft for Lufthansa, avoided American-built planes when possible, never publicly acknowledged the mathematical reality that defeated Germany. Died April 28, 1957, age 37, from injuries sustained during a private aircraft accident. The mocker who dismissed American capacity died without publicly admitting the cost of that dismissal. But private correspondence told different story. Letters to Johann Steinhoff discovered after Bear's death revealed his understanding. "You were right in November 1943, Bear wrote in 1954. "I was wrong. We were defeated by mathematics, not tactics. I destroyed 221 enemy aircraft. They produced 96,318 fighters. I was irrelevant. My victories were irrelevant. The factories won. The production lines won. I refuse to acknowledge this truth publicly because acknowledging it means acknowledging I wasted German lives defending positions that mathematics had already defeated. I cannot bear that weight." The three witnesses represented Germany's progression: ideological dismissal, analytical warning, first-hand experience. All three learned the same lesson at different costs. The mocker learned too late and couldn't accept it. The warner learned early but couldn't change it. The witness experienced it directly and survived to teach it. Major Gunther Lutzow died April 24, 1945, shot down during combat operations near Donauwörth. The second-ranking officer from the November 8, 1944 briefing never survived to see final German collapse. His death occurred 13 days before surrender. His final combat report, recovered from Jagdverband 44 headquarters, revealed complete understanding. Enemy fighter strength overwhelms tactical capability. Request additional aircraft, impossible. Request additional fuel, impossible. Request additional ammunition, impossible. Request additional pilots, impossible. Recognize mathematics favor enemy absolutely. Recognize continuation of operations serves no military purpose. Will continue operations until cessation of hostilities or destruction of unit. Mathematics make victory impossible but withdrawal unacceptable. Lutzow understood, too late, like Bear, like Germany. Final accounting proved devastating. Me-262 jet fighters produced, 1,430 aircraft. Me-262 destroyed in combat, 456 aircraft. Me-262 destroyed on ground, 318 aircraft. Me-262 lost to mechanical failure, 289 aircraft. Total Me-262 losses, 1,063 from 1,430 produced. Loss rate, 74.3%. Operational availability averaged 23%. On any given day, 77% of Me-262s were non-operational due to damage, maintenance, or fuel shortages. P-51 Mustang production, 15,586 aircraft. P-51 losses in combat with Me-262s, 243 aircraft. Loss rate when engaging jets, 1.6%. P-51 operational availability averaged 71%. On any given day, American fighters outnumbered German jets by 40-1 with operational readiness exceeding German rates by 3-1. The production disparity told complete story. Germany allocated 420,000 man-hours producing one Me-262 jet. North American aviation required 5,800 man-hours producing one P-51D Mustang. American efficiency exceeded German efficiency by 7,241% per aircraft. Multiply efficiency, advantage by production volume advantage. Catastrophic German disadvantage. Cost comparisons reinforced disparity. One Me-262 cost 87,000 Reichsmarks to produce. One P-51D cost $50,985 to produce. Exchange rate 1944, 2.5 Reichsmarks per dollar. Me-262 cost equivalent, $34,800. P-51D cost, $50,985. German jets cost 32% less per aircraft, but Germany produced 1,430 at lower cost. America produced 15,586 at higher cost. Lower unit cost multiplied by smaller volume lost to higher unit cost multiplied by massive volume. The mathematics proved absolute. Material consumption illustrated resource advantage. Single Me-262 required 4,200 kilograms aluminum. Single P-51D required 2,800 kilograms aluminum. German jet used 50% more aluminum per aircraft, but produced 91% fewer aircraft. Total aluminum in German Me-262 program, 6,006,000 kilograms. Total aluminum in American P-51 program, 43,640,800 kilograms. American program consumed 7 times more aluminum, producing 11 times more aircraft. But aluminum production made consumption possible. American aluminum production 1944, 920 million kilograms. German aluminum production 1944, 243 million kilograms. P-51 program consumed 4.7% of American aluminum output. Me-262 program consumed 2.5% of German aluminum output. Americans allocated smaller percentage of larger capacity. Germans allocated larger percentage of smaller capacity. Mathematics of resource advantage proved decisive. The lesson echoed across subsequent conflicts. Korea 1950-1953, North Korean MiG-15s technologically superior to American F-86 Sabres in several categories. America produced 9,860 F-86s. Soviet Union produced 12,000 MiG-15s, but North Korea received 650. American numerical advantage in theater created 10-1 superiority. Kill ratio favored Americans 10-1 despite technological parity. Production determined outcome. Vietnam 1965-1973, North Vietnamese MiG-21s competitive with American F-4 Phantoms technologically. America produced 5,195 F-4s. Soviet Union exported 380 MiG-21s to North Vietnam. American numerical advantage exceeded 13-1. Production advantage compensated for tactical disadvantages. Iraq 1991. Iraqi Air Force possessed 750 combat aircraft, including modern Soviet fighters. Coalition forces deployed 2,430 combat aircraft, including 1,800 American planes. Numerical advantage combined with technological advantage created 100-1 kill ratio. Iraqi aircraft destroyed, 234. Coalition losses to air combat, 0. Iraq 2003, Iraqi Air Force reduced to 316 combat aircraft after 1991 defeat. Coalition forces deployed 1,801 combat aircraft. Numerical advantage 5-7-1 combined with technological advantage created absolute dominance. Iraqi aircraft destroyed or abandoned, 316. Coalition losses to air combat, 0. Different conflicts, different aircraft, different technologies, identical mathematics. Nations that challenge American industrial capacity discover identical outcomes. Production multiplied by technology defeats technology without production. The ratios change across decades. The lesson remains constant. November 8, 1944. Richlin-les Airfield. 3 German officers examined intelligence reports about American P-51 Mustangs. Oberst Heinrich Baer laughed at claims that propeller planes could intercept jets. Major Gunther Lutzow dismissed production statistics as irrelevant. Hauptmann Johann Steinhoff warned about industrial disparity and was dismissed. May 7, 1945. Germany surrendered unconditionally. Baer, hospitalized with severe injuries, survived 13 more years carrying unspoken recognition of catastrophic miscalculation. Lutzow dead, killed 13 days before surrender, understanding too late that mathematics made victory impossible. Steinhoff captured, provided detailed testimony about systematic industrial defeat, survived 50 more years teaching the lesson. The Richlin briefing room where Baer dismissed American capability was destroyed by Allied bombing March 12, 1945. The mahogany table where intelligence reports were reviewed burned in fires reaching 1,200 degrees Celsius. The concrete bunker where 3 officers laughed at American claims collapsed under 2,000-pound bombs delivered by B-17 bombers escorted by P-51 Mustangs. The physical location of Germany's most expensive miscalculation became rubble scattered across 840 square meters. The mathematical lesson remained intact, preserved in testimony, statistics, and 78 years of subsequent history. The final chapter was written in California factories, not German skies. The war was won by Rose Monroe's riveting gun, producing 18 times more work than German equivalents. Won by James Goodwin's milling machine, exceeding entire German facilities. Won by Charles Wilson's quality control, increasing production 340%. Won by 42,000 American workers, outproducing 114,000 German workers. Won by democratic industrial organization, defeating totalitarian command economy. Mathematical lesson remains absolute. Free peoples with industrial capacity defeat authoritarian regimes with technological advantage when production determines outcomes. The P-51 Mustang proved this truth against the Me-262 jet. Sufficient multiplied by 15,586, buried superior multiplied by 1,430 under weight of numbers. The assembly line defeated the drawing board. The factory floor defeated the test field. Democratic industrial mobilization crushed totalitarian technological innovation. 78 years later, the formula persists unchanged. Technology without production remains experimental. Production without limits becomes overwhelming. Nations that underestimate American industrial capacity discover this truth too late, measured in destroyed aircraft, surrendered territory, and defeated armies. The mathematics don't negotiate. The numbers don't compromise. The factories always win. The lesson persists across 8 decades. Free peoples with industrial capacity defeat authoritarian regimes with technological advantage when production determines outcomes. The assembly line conquered the drawing board. The factory floor defeated the test field. Democratic industrial mobilization crushed totalitarian technological innovation. The mathematics proved absolute then. The mathematics remain absolute now. Nations that underestimate American productive capacity discover this truth too late, measured in destroyed aircraft, lost pilots, and surrendered territory. The P-51 Mustang represented more than an aircraft. It represented democratic industrial power applied to warfare. That power proved overwhelming, irresistible, and decisive. The Germans learned this truth at terrible cost. The lesson remains available to any nation that questions American industrial resolve.